Hi, everybody. I'm John
I'm Joni.
for Grow, Love, and Expand. So we were just talking. You were talking about repetitive thoughts. What do you think?
Right. Well, I was just reading an article about that, and it said that 90% of the thoughts we think are repetitive. In other words, we think them over and over. And as I read that, it did kind of ring true to me, and that 70 to 80% of those thoughts is some type of negative self-talk. And that to me is kind of sad, a little bit frightening. And I was just wondering if there's any way that we can begin to notice it a little more so that we can change that. And what should we do to change that? Because that in itself just keeps the stress going over and over and over again in your life instead of letting it go,
Right. So with all things, I've been doing this a long time, a long time, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of growth, a lot of learning along the way. I mean, this started back in 87. I just recently started up with these videos again. And why is that? Why is that? Because the information is important. Now, is everybody going to hear it? No. And I don't want you to trust everything that we say, because I want you to ask your heart if it rings true. Okay? And if it rings true, then follow it with all your might. Okay? I assure you that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay? You are not human by any stretch of the imagination, not even for a second. You are a spiritual energy having a human experience. And that energy expands to all areas of the galaxy and beyond, and areas that you can't even possibly fathom or understand as far as dimensionally. Okay? And why am I telling you this? Because a lot of what you think and you know today are behavioral traits that have been ingrained in you since the time you were popped out of the womb. Now, if we were a society that developed that intuition from the very beginning, you probably wouldn't have most of these thoughts, right? Most of these repetitive thoughts are ingrained through our behavioral traits of what we've seen and learned through how we've grown up, because we do very little in this country anyways to develop intuition, to develop that knowingness. Just like an ant that's born and immediately goes out, a bee gets born and immediately goes out and does what it's intuitively known what to do because it's following its best and highest good. It knows it's a bee, okay? But it also knows that bee, believe it or not, that bee knows that it's a part of something greater than itself, right? And the whole makes up the greatness of all things. The whole makes up what we call God. God is all that is. Whatever you want to call it, the whole and you are a part of that. You are, in essence, a huge part of that. That one bee knows its purpose. Humans, on the other hand, are taught out of that purpose. We're taught early on that those feelings, those intuitions are not valid, that we're not supposed to listen to them. For the most part, 100%, no, of course. There's some families that are phenomenal at it, right? That inspire that intuition, right, in a person. And so what you have to try to do, and there's no try, as Yoda would say, is you have to practice getting out of your head every day, okay? But only you can decide to do that, right? No one can decide that for you. You're going to have to determine one day in your life that everything that I've been taught has been absolute total garbage, and that I need to retrain myself into what really exists and what really is. Because there's so many things in life, honestly, that most people miss every single day. And it's the little things. And I will tell you something, that it's the context you make in an everyday reality, the human beings that you connect with, is really what's important. Okay? So many people say, hey, I want to, would you like to come over for dinner tonight? No, I can't. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Nothing. You're sitting on your couch watching TV doing absolutely nothing, and you might have just missed the greatest experience of your life by just doing. right? And why did you not do? Because you were in your head, right? Because it takes effort, or it takes you out of your comfort zone, or it takes you to places where you have not normally gone. So that chatter in your head inhibits you from achieving the greater good that already lies within you, right? I've always said, people said, how do I make this change? Well, it's really simple. Everything that you think you know, everything that you think you ever will know, and everything you think you know right now, throw it all away. It means absolutely nothing. That which is true will stay. That which is false will go away. You have to allow yourself to be guided, right? But what do most people do? Most people say, I want to make a change. Okay, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to get another job. Okay, what have you done? Your mind already goes into, I have to get another job. Well, why? Why? What is it that you really want to do? Is it another job or is it something else? You always fall back on what you know. Why? Because it's your comfort zone. It's your comfort zone. Why do we eat those foods? Because it's our comfort zone, right? Foods, whatever the case may be, right? You change your thoughts, everything changes. You start to follow your heart. Your heart changes your thoughts. It starts to evolve everything in your life, right? You always revert back to what you know because that's what you know. It doesn't mean that it was the best thing for you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, chances are it's not.
No.
The best.
I mean, you always go back to what you think you've been taught.
Right.
Right? And it's like,
What tells you that that's the correct thing?
so your heart.
Right.
You gotta learn to feel your heart, right? So I counsel so many people, right? Do readings all the time, right? And if you need a reading, hit me up, jbliss30@gmail.com. Email me. We can set an appointment up. It's life coaching, okay? So many people, okay? They say, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate my job. Okay, let's stop there. What do you hate about the job? Do you really hate the job, or do you hate? So let's evaluate this first before we even get to that point, right? Let's start to understand where we're at, because sometimes we don't ask the right questions. Okay, so we want to evaluate that, right?
Right.
Then what happens? Okay, so this is truly the area that I want to go into. Okay, then go in there. Maybe start part-time. Maybe start to develop something part-time to where because you still got to eat. You have to have an income, right? But let's say you quit point blank. What happens? What's going on in the head? This isn't going to happen. This right? All the chatter starts to work, right?
Right.
And so then the income starts to dip, right? And we don't want to make sacrifices. Maybe have to downsize or whatever it takes, right? We don't want to have to do that, or because our mind says, well, we're supposed to have all these things.
Yeah. How are we going to pay a bill today? We don't have money.
All these things,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happens? I got to get another job. You revert back to what you know. You don't think of other ways. So your mind doesn't go to, okay, I can do this to get that. Or, okay, wait a second. Okay, so this isn't working out. If this isn't working out, how do I adjust this, right?
Right.
See, the goal is the same, but the plan may change. That's another thing that people have to understand, right? People are so stuck on a plan, they forget the goal, right? And the goal is always the same, but the plan, that may adjust as we go through it, okay? But what happens, right?
Right.
Money gets tight or whatever the case, you go, well, I got to get another job because that's all you know.
No, people go into panic mode.
You don't think outside of the box.
Right.
You don't think like, okay, well, maybe I need to go put flyers up or whatever the case may be. Maybe there's a different marketing approach that needs to be had. Right? You don't go to that. Successful people, though, do. They do. They don't ever doubt. Well, I'm not saying they do doubt because they're humans, but they stick to the goal, right? And they push through that. They persevere through that chatter, right? Because they have the chatter too. But, and when I say successful people, I don't really mean that, money is success. Whatever their goal is in achieving that goal. Okay, so let's be clear there. Okay, I don't gather success as far as how big your pocketbook is. Yes, it's great to have money because money gets us things in life and we don't have to stress as much, right? But I don't judge that from success. It's did you achieve the goal, right? Did you pursue that goal and obtain it? And then did you then set another goal? Whatever the case may be. Does it make sense?
Right.
So, yeah, that chatter, for the most part, is not your chatter. It doesn't belong to you. It's been ingrained through behavioral traits of understanding and looking at your environment.
So you think that if we could recognize that chatter as exactly that, it's just chatter, we would be able to let it go or recognize it for what it is and say, try to replace those thoughts with something more positive or,
you're not a part of
that would serve us.
Right. Right. You're not a part of me, I'll let you go. And again, that's where affirmations come in, right? So, you said do an affirmation and do it 108 times. 108 times.
Right.
Right.
You're affirming what you want.
Right. So you're replacing that chatter with what you want. You're affirming what you want. That chatter. It may happen overnight, may happen 2 weeks, may happen 2 months, may happen 2 years. But you're changing that chatter. You're changing what you believe to be true.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because everybody says, I want change, I want change, I want change, I want change, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And then that doesn't happen. They revert back to, well, I got to get a job, or I got to do this, or, I got to do that.
Because you're affirming that you want.
Well, you're just going back to what you think you've been taught.
The cycle keeps.
And you have to get yourself out of that. Like, no, damn it. I don't want a freaking other job. Just a regular job. Right? I want something different. Stick to that belief. Stick to that belief. Why does that belief ring true? Because you feel it here in the heart. You don't feel it here. You feel it in the heart. And I'm telling you, if it's from the heart, boom, you're on track, right? And then you said, well, how do I know if this is true? It's observational awareness. Right? Because you come up with a hypothesis. You say, I would like this to happen, this change. I think that's totally wrong, actually. I think it's this way. And then what happens? The universe starts shooting you signs to affirm what you thought was opposite than what you've been taught. And you go, no, that person's wrong. That doesn't ring true here. And then you go, well, so what is it then? And then the universe starts, like I said, popping in affirmation. You go, God dang, that's like the 5th sign I've gotten.
Yeah.
And it's through observational awareness that you become convinced and aware, and you start to have trust in that. There's a huge, huge difference in your life when you move out of trust and faith into knowingness. And I'm telling you, the minute you achieve knowingness, life will change like that. Like that. Right?
Yeah.
I got divorced a long time ago. And she was trying to sell the house. We were trying to sell the house. And I was had looked at a house. The street name was Los Gatos. Right? And I didn't know if I should buy the house, right? At all. And I'm doubting myself and everything else. And then I have a dream of 2 cats. And I go, what is a dream of 2 cats? What is that? Well, Los Gatos means the cats. So I went, oh, boom. No, I know that that's what I was supposed to do. My whole world changed. The house went through, bam, 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 bam. Like that. Just for like weeks, nothing happened, right? And then the minute I affirmed in my brain, this is right, happened like that. I'm not kidding you, like within a day. Boom, done. And so there's that once you get past the trust and faith into knowingness, life changes, right?
Right.
But to remove chatter, because you're always going to revert back to what you've been taught, because that's what you know.
Right.
I believe in affirmations. And you have to do it every day. Every day. It's like these people that say, oh, I get a cheat meal. No, I'm sorry, you don't get a cheat meal. Okay? You're not strong enough yet for a cheat meal. Because that cheat meal is going to turn into 2 cheat meals, 3 cheat meals. Next thing you know, you're back to where you were.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you don't do the affirmations every day and stick to it, then you're just going to revert back to the chatter.
Right.
Right? And the chatter is most likely not yours. It's what's been inputted in there by society.
Right.
Right? I mean, like you get a baseball player who's trying to become pros. Well, Jay Leno, there's a great thing about Jay Leno. He says one time, he wants to be a comedian, wants to do this thing, and he had an audition or something like that, but he had to go to work. And he said, God, I got to go to work. I can't go to the audition. He's like, what am I doing? I'm either committed to this or I'm not. Right? Because, yeah, your mind says, oh, I got to go get a job. Right? Because I got rent due. But I want this. So he quits his job. Rest is history. I know there's thousands of people that hadn't done it, whatever. But it's kind of a great sort of metaphor, right?
Right. Absolutely.
He had to get out of his mind chatter and go, okay, either I'm doing this or I'm not doing this. Right?
Instead of being pulled back every time.
Instead of being pulled back.
Pulled back into that same.
Yeah, because your first response says, okay, no, I quit my job. I've done this for a while, but I haven't gotten, nothing's happened, so I need to go out and get another job.
Right.
Not like, okay, do I need to take another approach? Do I need to do flyers? Do I need to do social media? Anything, right? Maybe I need to downsize, right? How committed are this? Well, maybe you need to downsize, right? There's so many things that you could possibly do, and the reason why you don't is because of chatter and fear.
Right.
Right? So yeah, chatter, I think in the most part probably is not your own. It's what you've been taught. It's what you've been led to believe to be true, but not necessarily the truth. And if you really want to get to the truth, you got to listen to the heart. Sit in silence, right? There's a famous person who just goes and sit in silence, right? I need direction. So you go sit in silence. And you talk about all the yogis throughout the eons, that's what they've done, right?
Right.
Some people can do that just naturally, and that's great. I'm not saying you need to sit in silence, but sometimes that helps people.
Right.
And then sometimes sitting in silence creates chatter, right? But a lot of people, when they start meditation, let's say, they have a lot of chatter, which stops their meditation. I go, don't fight the chatter. Let the chatter come. Just recognize it and let it move on. Just don't give energy to the chatter. Like, oh my God, I got these thoughts. Just let them come and go. And eventually that chatter becomes less and less the more you do it.
Right. Right.
That make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
There you have it. I'm John.
I'm Joni.
For Grow, Love, and Expand. Please hit that like button, share, subscribe, spread the word of positivity. Know that you are the greatest person alive today. Each and every one of us work together to create that whole. Peace, love, and happiness. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, always love yourself. That's how you can love others.